Well, good evening, Northwest Woodturners. Our April demo was supposed to be turning eggs, but COVID-19 got in the way of that. So here we have, through the magic of Roger Crooks and modern technology, a video session on making eggs. And here are some that I've done, some of them recently, some of them not so recently. Various kinds of wood. That's maple burl with some spalting in it. Got English walnut, bocote, which is leftovers from ice cream scoop handles. Just a regular old piece of walnut makes a very fine egg. This one is a piece of apple, and that one belongs to Mike Porter. You may not know that yet, but that's that. So here are the possibilities, and I'm going to show you how to get started on them yourselves in just a minute after we get done with a tour of the tools. A narrow parting tool. This guy's got a thicker bottom on it than the top, and it's just wonderful for making parting cuts that don't bind. Next, I've got a detail gouge, which is your go-to tool if the skew scares you too much. You can get to a point where you can get a really fine, clean, smooth cut with this tool. And the last tool I use, especially when I have a piece of wood that is mounted cross grain, bowl fashion, you don't want to use this guy for that because you'll have the air full of kindling. But with this guy, you can cut something that's got the grain mounted crossways to the axis and still get a smooth egg. And now when we get to showing you examples of eggs, I've got several that are examples of that. Next thing, for centering, I use a scratch awl, or sometimes I just use a pencil. There are several things about this block of wood that I want to point out to you. And now that you've seen the pencil, I'm going to put it away because you can't see it on camera. Or at least I can't see it on camera. So here we go. Right here, there is a crack. And that crack runs this way. And then here, it runs off that way. If I were to bring this down, runs off that way. If I were to bring this down onto the roughing gouge, when I start to square off, I could bring this whole face off of that block of wood, and then the air would be full of kindling too. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to turn this block around and make sure that the headstock is that way. And then, as I come off of this chip, I'm just going to nibble it away in little pieces that are manageable. For marking the center, that was what I got this up to do for you. There are all kinds of tricks and little pieces of equipment that you can buy, but the handiest one is one you were born with. Take a good grip on your marking instrument and decide where it's going to contact the end, and just draw a line. Keep this hand exactly the way it is, and pretty soon you're going to have 4 lines. And right there is your center. No tools. And I'll just do that again here. Just like that. And there I am again. And that's close enough for any egg you're going to make. So let me get all these tools put back where they belong, and we'll be ready for the next step after some questions. Here is my center point, and I just put that on there so that it looks like it's equidistant from all sides, which it is, close enough. I'm going to bring this guy up, and I'm going to wind him up, and now I can do the same thing. And if you notice my hand here, I can put this guy all over the place, and I can do it fairly precisely, which brings me out in the middle from both directions. Then I just snug down on this guy, make sure it's good and tight, and then back off just a little bit, and that will extend the life of my bearings. Make sure that all of my fixings are down tight, and turn my speed dial down to nothing, pull out my tool. This is the tool I mentioned that I use for roughing down for small diameter stock. It works pretty well for something from, this is 2 inches. It'll be okay for this going down. I always start at one end and work across the other, again because of this guy right here. If I start in the middle, chances are good I'm going to send that piece in a gazillion directions and I won't have any control over it. So let's round this down. Take it up to about 1,000 RPMs is pretty good. And here I start my nibble. Next tool is the skew, and I will smooth off the end that way, and now I've got a smooth spot so I can come back in and go the other direction. I can go off the end, but I can't come on the end, so I start in. And you can make pretty fine fluff. Next thing we're going to do is move the tool rest in just a little bit, and we're going to square the ends. I want to square in enough that I'm beyond the point of the center. Otherwise I have a little hole in my egg at the end and I don't want that. So what I'm getting ready to do here is cut my egg. And I want my egg to be somewhere along the lines of 1.3 to 1.5 times as long as it is in diameter. So what I've got here is a diameter of 48 millimeters. All right. Yes, 47 millimeters. So I want an egg that's going to be something on the order of 55 millimeters long. And to do that, I will just lay this guy on there, and there's my 55. Maybe a little longer than that. Maybe I'll go 60. I'll go 60, and if I don't like it, I can cut it down. So I'm going to pick a spot that's roughly 60-40. Golden mean is 1.618. Okay, pretty close to the one end done already. As with many machining jobs, this is largely a matter of setup. Now, fortunately, You can see I didn't leave myself quite enough space there, but I've got material enough to correct for my mistake, so here I go. Now, at some point, you're going to have to cut this off, which if you don't have a four-jaw chuck to hang on to a jam chuck with, you do with a handsaw, and then you just finish up with a knife, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But what I've done here is I've made a kerf for my saw so that I don't cut into my egg. If I were to take this line on down, it would fall underneath that line right there. And I don't know if you can see that, but I can show you that this way. There's a kerf right there and another place right there, and that's where I want to make my cut with the saw. Here I want to do the same thing. I want to leave a little bit of material on the end to finish with. And so this guy back down. Now I'm making just super light cuts, because the smaller I get that, the better I like it. Because it's less work with a knife. And there we go, I'm down to about 3/16, maybe an eighth. And I can keep on going. All right. Pull out my little skew. And here I'm just going to part that puppy pretty near all the way down. I can tell when I'm getting close when it looks like the live center is not spinning at the same speed as the egg. And dead center. Didn't push it away for me, but you can see, I'm going to have a little ding in the bottom there. And then this end, I can twist that way because I've got room to finish there. And to do that, I pull out my handy dandy knife and whittle. And when I get it whittled enough, there we go. But you're done sooner. And there you have an egg done between centers.